in, girl. And in true Instagram form, it freezes. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited to see you. First of all, I have to congratulate you. High five, baby. High five on all the amazing things that you have created in your life and that you have manifested and worked your tail off to make happen since we last spoke, what, like a year ago? When we got on the phone and had that conversation?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell that story real quick. Like I think it was last year after my Speak Up ride, you dropped into my DMs and you said, this is my number, call me. And I texted my best friend. I was like, Mel Robbins just DM'd me and sent me her phone number and told me to call her. I was like, what is happening? And you gave me, honestly, you told me, you said, girl, know your worth and then double it. And you gave me so much advice. And after our conversation, I said to myself, she's real. Like, that's the real deal, because you didn't need to do that. I didn't even ask you. You just found me and you said, you know what? I want to talk to this girl and give her some direction. And I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, one of the things about me is, my kind of brand of improving my own life typically requires me to either dig a hole that I fall into or fall into a hole. And I gotta figure out how to climb out myself. And I have made so many mistakes and I've caused myself so much heartache that if any of my pain and suffering can help somebody avoid the same mistakes or the same, just obstacles that I put in my own way. And so, you and many of your colleagues, but you got me through quarantine. I would pull my ass onto that bike and I would be like, turn it over, please. Please help me get this negativity out of my body.
You and me both.
And so I just felt when I saw you do that ride in particular, but I had been thinking about reaching out to you for a while. I just felt called to, because I knew exactly what was going to happen. When you see somebody whose light turns on, it is unmistakable. And I knew that there were going to be all kinds of opportunities coming at you. And I knew unless there was somebody that was in the speaking business or that was just a couple steps ahead of you. I think we're all lights on the path for each other and that we're not in competition at all. And that if, there's something that I've learned, which is I profoundly undervalued my own worth when I first got into the speaking business because I had a lot of insecurity. And one of the things that, I write about a lot in the High Five Habit, as you know, is that your relationship with yourself is the foundation for everything you do in life. It's the foundation for every relationship that you have. If you are not...
Your relationship with yourself is the foundation for every other relationship that you have.
Yes, because... let me just give you a quick example. The reason why so many people struggle with people pleasing and imposter syndrome is because you are insecure with yourself. You judge yourself.
Yeah.
And so then you step out into the world, and because you've judged yourself and you reject yourself and you hate yourself and you're hard on yourself and you're insecure with yourself, and hell, 50% of people can't even look themselves in the mirror because they don't like the person they see. So if you start your day by either criticizing yourself in the mirror or seeing somebody who doesn't deserve your support or celebration because of all the shit that's been done to you, or if you literally pick yourself apart or ignore yourself, don't even look at yourself in the mirror, that's a form of self-rejection. You go out into the world and you think you're going to act confident? Are you kidding me? That's why so many of us struggle with people pleasing. We don't like ourselves. That's the problem. And so we go out into the world and try to pretend we're somebody because we don't like ourselves. It's just, anyway, I'm going off already.
No, but what you're saying, so much of it is true. I remember I heard this years ago, but there's that person where you can't stand that person. And everybody else in your circle is like, oh, I think this person is great. What are you talking about? She's great. And then you realize you don't like that person because the things that you don't like in yourself, that person exemplifies. Nobody else sees it because that's not their own issue with themselves. But because that person is like a walking light bulb of all the things you don't like about yourself, and they just, you know, they exemplify that, then that kind of, that digs at you a little bit deeper. So it just brings me back to what you're saying right now. No, Mel, look, first and foremost, thank you so much for your time. I have so many questions to ask you. I know that you are literally like on a full-blown book tour right now. I'm so happy that you said yes to join us on Speak. I felt like we had to have you. You exemplify all that Speak is, S-P-E-A-K. I think that you use your voice to educate other people. I think that in order to speak, you have to be willing to surrender. You have to truly know your power, like know the power that you take into this world. You have to lead with empathy. You must be authentic, and you have to have the knowledge to back it. What I think is most interesting about your story is that your light in all this came through time and experience. I have a quote. You said that it wasn't always like this for you. Your voice grew with time and experience. After screwing up my life for the first 40 years, I finally figured out how to change my habits, and I've become a happier and more confident and more fulfilled person. And now, as a result, you've impacted so many people.
Yeah. You know, it'd be awfully nice to just read this shit in a book and actually improve. That's not what like, I don't know if I'm a stubborn learner or what the deal is, but I have to first hit a brick wall, hit rock bottom, in order to discover the solid resolve inside of me to actually change.
Right.
And it has been like that over and over and over again. And, you know, I really struggled with anxiety, with people pleasing, with feeling completely lost in life, with not knowing my calling or my purpose. For those of you that know me, you know that I only got into personal development by accident. And it all happened 13 years ago during the moment of my life when my husband had gone into the restaurant business, and we basically took our entire life savings to fund it. And it didn't go that well. And we found ourselves $800,000 in debt. Liens on the house. Yep.
Wow.
Never on my vision board was there a photo of me drunk, lying in bed, not able to buy groceries at the age of 41 with 3 kids under the age of 10. That was not part of my plan, but that is what happened.
Wow.
And, you know, you hear the quote that you can't choose what's happening, but you can choose your response. That's easy to post on Instagram. When the shit hits the fan in your life, it's easier to grab the booze. It's easier to numb out. It's easier to point your finger like I did at Chris and go, this is all your fault, because anger and frustration is easier than looking yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility for your part in it. I said, let's do it. Let's go all in. The first location was great. What could go wrong? I was part of all of it. I made shitty decisions too. I lost my job at the ssame time. But it's easier to point the finger at everybody else. But here's the thing. When you do that, there's always 3 fingers pointing back at you. I hate that. I hate that. And what that means, it means the power is in you.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel it. And so that was the moment that, by dumb luck and what I believe to be divine intervention, I invented something called the 5-second rule, which started out just as a way to get out of bed when the anxiety was so crushing that I couldn't get out of bed. I started counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here was the logic. The logic was, if I launch myself like a rocket, the way NASA, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launches themselves. You're from Houston, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am. Born and
so
bred.
There's the NASA thing. There's the NASA thing. There's another connection. So if I launch myself out of bed, maybe if I moved fast enough, I'd beat the anxiety. Maybe I wouldn't be in the when the depression and the anxiety and the fear hit.
Mel, 54321 has saved me so many times. You said that myself and my teammates, that Peloton, it saved you within the pandemic. When I tell you, there were days where I live in a high rise in New York City, and when everything first happened, like right now as I look outside, I can see taxis and cars and people. I remember there was a day I woke up and it was just cloudy, doomsday. It looked like the world was coming to an end. And I just sat there in bed with my dog, and I just kind of thought, like, what am I going out there to do? And so at this same time, I'm also like stalking you on Instagram and watching all of your videos. I love your videos. And so then I start reading and I'm like, I'm going to try this. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, I feel like as a child, you're so free because you sleep, you wake up, you sleep, you wake up. But as an adult, when you're laying down, it's like all this stuff just sits and manifests and develops in your head. And so then I started doing it. I said to myself, I'm like, Tune, get up. And then I'd say 5, 4, 3. And by 2, I'm up out of bed. Like I think too about what you're saying, like you hit rock bottom. I think that most people, I read that, you know, you had drank a lot of bourbon when you came up with this plan to basically train your brain.
I was
nothing comes good out when I'm bourbon. What'd you say?
That's true. I had 4 Manhattans the night I thought of the 5-second rule. That's not something I know. I can't believe I even remember. And here's the thing, everybody. You are one decision away from a different life. One decision away. If I hadn't counted backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, on a Tuesday morning in February, outside of Boston, Massachusetts in 2008, if I hadn't made that decision, my life would have gone on a totally different path. I would be divorced. I'd probably still be an alcoholic. My family would be apart. I have no idea what I'd be doing for a living, but I'd probably be angry and resigned. And that decision to push through the anxiety, to push through the resignation, to push through the fear, to just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do what I needed to do to face the problems in my life that were very real and very scary, and start to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, chip away at them, pick up the phone, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, call my parents and let them know what's going on and ask for help, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let friends know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start exercising, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, don't snap at the kids. And slowly but surely, all those decisions started to steer my life in a totally different direction. And, you know, the 5-second rule has gone on to change millions of people's lives. We know the science behind it now. It is called a starting ritual. It will interrupt any habit like procrastination or worrying or beating yourself up, any of it. And it will 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 engage your prefrontal cortex. And that gives you a moment where you can take control. And it has been an extraordinary gift. I mean, we know of pediatricians around the world and therapists around the world that are using the 5-second rule to help clients with anxiety. We know of veterans organizations that use it to help vets reframe the triggers associated with PTSD.
Wow.
We've heard from 111 people who have stopped themselves from attempting suicide by counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and asking for help. And even though I know all of that, I'm going to tell you something. The high five habit is 100 times more powerful.
Wow.
It cuts so much deeper, because what the 5-second rule did is it taught me how to take control. It taught me how to do the actions that I needed, take the actions that I needed to take in order to take control of my life. It helped me push through fear and boredom and procrastination and imposter syndrome and all that stuff. But I'll tell you what it never addressed. It never addressed the deeper problem that we all struggle with. And that is a level of self-hatred and self-judgment that is paralyzing. And there is this ugly habit that everybody has that nobody's talking about. And it is my hope that through all of these conversations around the High Five Habit book, that we collectively blow a hole through this habit. Because this habit is part of everybody's morning routine. And we all know the benefits of, you know, your morning routine. How you set your day up is how it ends up. We all know the benefits of meditation, which help you be non-reactive to your thoughts and help your self-awareness. We all know the benefits of gratitude, which really are demonstrated scientifically. But if you've ever noticed, the meditation doesn't change the pummeling that you give yourself, the constant criticism, the fact that you focus on everything that's going wrong or what you didn't do instead of what's going right. It doesn't change the fact that you beat yourself up. Gratitude, if you look at your gratitude list, which is something you should do every day, it's almost always something outside of you. And what I'm here to say is you have a habit right now that is horrible. And it happens every morning in the bathroom. And this is how you start your day. You literally stand in the bathroom and you either don't look at yourself, which is a form of rejection, or you pick yourself apart.
Totally.
You do to start the day. Everybody does it. And we wonder why we struggle with insecurity. We wonder why we're struggling with comparison. We wonder why we have so much FOMO and why we have such imposter syndrome and why you might have big dreams, but you're the loudest voice in your own head going, nah, not you. It's already been done. You're just going to be a copycat. You're too late.
Right.
You're not enough. It's not going to work out. Why bother? Like, that is what I'm going to war against. And the high five habit first made me realize how much at my core I didn't like myself. I thought there was something wrong, that I was a bad person, and that every morning when I would stand before myself, I dragged all the shit from my past in between me and the person in the mirror. And I would use that as evidence to say, see, remember that time you drank too much? Remember that time
Waiting.
you on
Right.
that? Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said that your daughter, a text message from your daughter, showed you that we're all our worst enemy. What was that about?
So this is chapter 4 in the book. This book, literally, I started writing this in May of 2020. This thing wrote itself because I discovered the high five habit by mistake. Another divine intervention. I was at a really low moment. I had lost my dream job. Then my daytime talk show was canceled. So I'm basically fired from my dream job.
Wow.
Publisher cancel a contract for a book I hadn't been able to write for more than 2 years. Not this one, but something else that they wanted the money back. I didn't now I'm having to return money I've already spent. Every speech starts to cancel. There's no PPP loans yet. I have no idea how I'm going to pay my team, how I'm going to keep my kids okay when college is imploded, if my parents are going to be okay. I am completely overwhelmed by my life. This is the moment I create the high five habit.
When shit happens, you step up like that. I mean, that's what I'm hearing time and time again. It's not, I mean, yeah, you're not hitting rock bottom like you did the first time around, but you're hitting a low. You're hitting a low. You're watching everything that you've worked so hard for fall.
And, we've all had that experience.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody saying, sorry, I don't want to be married to you anymore. Or you're fired. Or you don't get into your dream school. Or the people you asked for funding for your business say, no, you're not experienced. Or you tell people about your idea and they say, I don't think so. That's dumb. It's already been done.
Yeah.
All day long, we experience these kinds of things. I just happened to have an avalanche of them. And I woke up one morning and I dragged myself to the bathroom and I caught my reflection in the mirror and I thought, oh my God, you look like hell. And then I started picking myself apart. The dark circles under my eyes, my saggy neck, one boob hanging lower than the other.
I saw that picture. I thought you still looked hot, Mel. You looked good, girl.
So true. Well, what's interesting about that is that your friends can tell you that, but if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And for whatever reason, I'm not a corny person. I'm a positive person, but cheeseball is not really part of my bio. I literally just, in my underwear, raised my hand and high-fived the woman I saw in the mirror because she needed it. And here's the thing. It's not like lightning struck right then. It's not like the heavens opened and whoa, everything changed. That wasn't it. But I'll tell you what. I felt my energy shift a little bit. I felt this kind of lift in my mood. And I left the bathroom all right, now, suck it up. I didn't even say it. I just kind of felt that kind of ass kicking energy that you get from, you when you ride a Peloton. It was the second morning, though, that I want to tell you the profound thing that happened.
Talk about
Because
it.
this is when it really cut down deep. I got up with the same overwhelm, the same exhaustion, the same fears. And I started walking to the bathroom. And then Tunde, I realized that I was feeling something I've actually never felt before in my adult life. And it's this. You know how when you're about to go meet a friend for a cup of coffee, somebody you really, really like, and you're about to walk into the cafe? What do you feel right before you walk in?
Like a guy that I really like that kind of like.
Or a girlfriend. I mean, like
Um,
anybody.
I would say
Like,
like excitement, maybe like a little bit unsure, like all the feelings,
yeah,
excitement, like not sure, but then like
yeah,
ready to go.
yeah. Well, especially if you're going to see a friend you really like. You're just like excited, right?
Yeah.
I felt that about the idea of seeing me.
Yourself. About seeing
No,
yourself.
yes. Now, I've been excited to see an outfit. I've been excited to see a haircut. I've never felt excited in my adult life to see the human being Mel Robbins.
Ooh, that's so good.
And it gets deeper.
Ah,
It gets deeper. I mean, have you?
been excited to see myself? No, I've been excited. I order an outfit and it comes. I'm excited to see the outfit, sure. But I don't wake up eager to go greet myself. No. But I've woken up and been eager to greet somebody else for sure, but never myself. In fact,
Bingo.
I avoid having to look at myself for as long as possible, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is hitting me at a profound level as I turn the corner and I walk into my bathroom. And as I'm brushing my teeth, I realize something crazy. Every morning in the bathroom, there are two people there. There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror. And that human being has been waiting for you
Wow.
to wake up and realize that they are there.
Mm.
They are trying so hard. They love you so much. They need you to see them, to celebrate them, to start being kinder to them.
Mm.
And I realize that it's this experience when you can look past your face and your body of truly seeing your spirit or your soul.
Wow. When you can look past your face and your body and truly see your spirit and your soul. Why is it so much easier to see everybody else's spirit and everybody else's soul? Why is it easier to see that than to look internal and see our own?
I think it starts really young. You
Mm.
know, I think that what happens is when you're really little and you walk into that cafeteria in school and you got your tray and you're trying to figure out where to sit, that your hat, your brain becomes that sorting hat from Harry Potter. And it
Mm.
starts to tell you as a way to protect you, even though your heart is longing to walk in a certain direction. It starts saying, no, 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 you don't look like those kids, or you don't have money like those kids, or you're not supported, or you're not a this kid, or maybe you do walk up to a table and then you get shunned or turned away. And so you start to realize there are places that you feel like you fit and places that you don't. And then I think the biggest flaw in human design takes over. And that is whenever something happens to you as a kid, you don't have the life experience or the wiring internally to be objective and go, all right, these adults are super fucked up. Somebody should call the police if they're doing this to me. Or if this kid is bullying me, I can't even imagine what's going on in his house. Holy cow.
Right?
Like, I feel sorry for your ass. Like,
I feel sorry for you. Yeah.
yeah. No, we go, there must be something wrong with me. And that's where it begins. There must be something wrong with me. And then subconsciously, instead of doing what you did when you were born, see, celebration and self-love, it's your birthright. It's in your DNA. When you were little and you looked in the mirror, you would kiss it and high five it and twirl in front. You loved yourself. None of us backed away from a mirror and were like, oh, damn, my thighs are really fat. That's a problem. I don't see a thigh gap in between these diapers. That's not like,
Diapers, right.
yeah, like that's not what happens. Life teaches us to do that to ourselves. And when you start yourself, it's a way to come home.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
Well,
was
when
going
you
to say
start to high five,
it helps correct this behavior that we learn at such a young age. So Mel, so you're in the mirror, you're excited. This is the second day. You're excited to go greet yourself, and then what happens?
I look at the woman in the mirror and I ask a question of myself that I've never asked. What does she need from me today? Like we ask that about work and our families and our friends and how we're going to show up in the world outside, but actually take that moment for yourself and say, what is he or her or them, what do they need from me today?
I've never asked myself that.
Me either.
I say, what do I have to get done today?
Mm-hmm.
How much time can you devote to X task today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy research. So the research is bananas on this. You're not actually trying to program any new behavior in your brain because all the programming associated with a high five is already in your nervous system and your mind. We're just going to aim it back at you. So when you high five somebody, what are you communicating when you raise your hand and you high five somebody?
That you see them, you acknowledge them, good job, progress. I mean, I high five all the time on the bike if I'm taking a class. That I see you, great job, work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is impossible to stand in front of the mirror. It's going to feel weird. You're going to resist it because this is something new that you're doing. Get over it. Do it anyway. And when you go to raise your hand, you'll notice the criticism goes silent because you've never in your entire life high-fived somebody and thought, I hate you, or you better lose, or you suck. It's only ever been, I believe you, I love you, I see you, keep going, off, I got you. There's so many studies about high fives, it's crazy, but I want you to understand the science and the programming is already in you. So when you raise your hand to high five yourself, regardless of what you actually are thinking, you can think I'm a failure. You can think I hate how I look. You can think I'm not where I'm supposed to be in life. You can be beating yourself up. The second you go to high five yourself, your mind goes silent because your brain recognizes the high five and it grabs all the programming that says, I believe in you. I encourage you. It silences the freaking critic. That's number one. Number two, every time you've ever gotten a high five, it felt good. And the reason it feels good is your brain gives you a drip of dopamine. When you high five yourself, you give yourself a drip of dopamine. And that's not all. You feel this awkward kind of weird pep when you're done. You kind of leave the bathroom feeling a little bit more energized, no matter what's going on in your life. And that can be explained by your nervous system. Your nervous system remembers celebratory gestures. What do you do when you cross a finish line? You raise your arms. What do you do when your team scores? You raise your arms. What do you do when you say hello? You raise your arm. When you hug, you raise your arms. When you high five, you raise your arms. When you raise your arm to yourself, you don't have to say anything. Your nervous system recognizes it and gives you that life force jolt through your body. This is not my science. This is from Dr. Daniel Amen, the world's leading expert on the brain. Just told me this 2 weeks ago. I didn't even write about that part in the book, for crying out loud. And that's not all. That's not all. I'm going to tell you something. I've been practicing this now for a year. I don't even have to high five myself. Because when I look in the mirror, I don't even see a face. I see a person I love. It wouldn't even occur to me to criticize her. It has profoundly rewired my mind and my relationship with myself.
Because you stop that toxic behavior. Have you ever heard the saying, you are whatever you repeat to yourself? Like, you are whatever you repeat. And by high-fiving yourself, just like you're saying, you lift your hand and you silence that internal critic. You don't even remember what to say negative about yourself because you haven't done it in so long, or you don't do it daily anymore.
Yeah. It's an act of defiance against years of trashing yourself and thinking you're and all those things that have been done to you, whether it's trauma or abuse or discrimination or poverty or anything that you've survived. If you can stand in front of a bathroom mirror and you're still breathing and still trying to do better, you not only deserve a high five, you need one because of all of those things. Those things don't make you unworthy. They make you worthy because you survived them. And you show yourself that when you raise your hand. All those things that you've done and you literally regret, that you would forgive Tunde for, you forgive Mel Robbins for, that you will not forgive yourself. The lying, the squandering of opportunity, hurting other people, hurting yourself. You will not forgive yourself. When you stand there, even though you failed at something, even though you fucked up stuff, and you still raise your hand, you're not going, I'm awesome. You're basically saying, I get it. And you know what? I still love you.
Right.
And I still believe in you.
Right.
And I'm still going to encourage. And that's what you need if you're going to change.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I picked up the book. Thank you so much for sending this to me. And I got this, your beautiful autograph, which I love. I opened the book like 3 or 4 days ago and I started reading it. And I have to say, like, the first time I did it, I felt, and I'm happy that you called it out to you. See, it's cheesy. I felt so cheesy. It's like, all right, here we go. But there is something to praising yourself. Like, you praise other people all day long and you acknowledge other people all day long. Like, the other day I looked at myself because I was about to say something nasty. I started to high-five myself and I changed my language. I looked at myself, I said, girl, you still got it, which is by no means what I really wanted to say to myself, but just the act of putting it up, like, I was like, I'll take that high five, girl. You still got it. Keep on moving. And so it's like,
well, here's the great thing I want to tell you, though, is that most mantras are complete horseshit, because most of the time we don't believe them. So they just kind of go over. And so the beauty of the high five, I'm telling you this, you can stand there and hate the way your body looks. You can stand there and know that you've let your health go and you're disappointed in yourself. You can stand there and have $2 in your bank account. And if you have all that going on in your life, you're not going to believe it if you're like, you still got it or you're awesome. So the power is actually, you don't have to say anything. You can be there with your challenges and your misery and still do this, and it communicates it forward. And also, there's a whole huge field of research called behavioral activation therapy. When you start to act like the person you want to become, and we all want to believe in ourselves and love ourselves and be kinder to ourselves and trust ourselves and support ourselves. Of course we do. Of course you do. So when you high five yourself, even without saying a word, you're showing yourself through the action that you treat yourself like somebody who loves and supports and believes in themselves. And through the action, that now paves the pathway for you to start to actually feel it.
Yeah, I think the action as well, though, it's big. And again, it's only been 3 or 4 days, but I feel like the action triggers me to think about what I'm high-fiving myself for. So, for example, yesterday I high-fived myself, and I was like, what do you... And then I thought about a few things that I have going on right now in my life, and I was like,
yes,
yeah, that deserves a high five. So not necessarily being a mantra or not a mantra, but just more so like causing me to think, like, yeah, you have things that require you to just say, you're doing okay. You're doing okay.
Well, here's even more. I don't want anybody to think they have to do anything to deserve one, because most people think you got to hit the number on the scale. Or you got to have the money in the bank before you're worthy of celebration.
Yeah.
You need the celebration to actually do the work in order to have the things that you want in your life. You know, I was talking to Jay Shetty the other day, and he said 2 things that I think were really powerful. He said, he's like, I just freaking love this high five habit, Mel. And he goes, I feel like, why do we celebrate birthdays? Because we're celebrating life. And if you're breathing, you deserve support and celebration from yourself.
Wow.
That's what this is. It's about your existence and honoring it in a very small way. It takes less than 5 seconds. And the other thing, his observation, which I think this is true, he said that the high five habit is really a light switch. We're all living in so much darkness right now, in our minds, in our spirit, in our physiology. And when you start to just raise your hand to yourself, knowing that it's a challenging time, or knowing that you have big goals, or knowing that you feel however you feel, you flip a switch inside yourself and you let the light back in. That's what's going on.
You flip a switch and you let the light back in. That's beautiful. That's really good. Mel Robbins, you're extraordinary. I said this yesterday, but you're a living legend. You are such a gift to, um, you're such a gift to everyone, again, because you are so real. And I'll speak for everybody here on this thread and saying, thank you so much for allowing us to grow through your experience and being so honest about everything that you've been through, and even still with all the success that you've had, for you to still continue to be authentic and still continue to be so true to who you are. So thank you. September 28th, the book
I
drop.
know.
It's here.
It's here. Oh my God. It's been 5 years. I can't believe, look, the book is, everybody, if you can buy the book, buy the damn book. Okay. Please. Like, you got to ask for what you want. I want you to have the book because I want you to highlight it and dog ear it. And I want you to pass it to friends. And we've just scratched the surface. High-fiving yourself is just the first tool. There's like 12 of them in this book that are that simple and that powerful. But if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Just follow both of us online. I'm going to put out so much free content. The other thing that I want you to know, two things. We're doing a global high five challenge. And if you just go to high5challenge.com, we'll put it in the comments, high5 challenge. Give me your name and your email address. And you should start high-fiving yourself in your bathroom tomorrow morning. But come October 4th, Mel Robbins will be high-fiving your ass back 5 days in a row. And you'll have a community of a couple 100,000 people high-fiving you back around. Well, so get into the High Five Challenge. It's free. And if you did pre-order the book, because I see a lot of you that say that you've ordered the book, get to high5habit.com, because between now and before the book drops, I have all of these crazy bonuses for free. A 3-hour masterclass I'm going to teach in October.
Awesome.
A bonus chapter that we recorded on audio that releases tomorrow only for people that pre-order the book.
Wow.
You'll be pre-registered in the High Five Challenge, all of it. So thank you.
Is that like a Zoom, or is that in real life?
Oh, when you go to the masterclass is going to be in Zoom, probably. I don't know. I'm holding out to see if maybe we can do it in person. I've got my fingers crossed, but if not, we'll go Zoom.
Oh, well, if you're in person, if you're in New York, I'm there. Either way, I'll be there on the Zoom then.
Oh, I love you. I'm so proud of you. And you know what? You are the embodiment of a high five. You're the embodiment of a high five. You're powerful.
Hi.
You are celebratory. You are positive. You are optimistic. You are grounded in faith. You are the human embodiment of the high five spirit. Thank you for being in my life. I love you.
I love you. Thank you for being in all of our lives. I love you, friend. Thank you so much, Mel.
High five, baby. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.